Arjun remembers the stories his grandmother used to tell. Stories of predictable monsoons that arrived like a cherished friend, bringing life-giving rain to the parched summer fields. He remembers tales of gentle winters and vibrant springs that painted the landscape in a riot of colors. But the world Arjun sees today feels different, as if it is reading from a new, unsettling script. The seasons no longer follow their ancient, reliable rhythm. The rains, when they come, are often furious and overwhelming, turning gentle streams into raging torrents that swallow homes and hopes in a single devastating gulp. It is a world of bewildering extremes, a world that feels increasingly unfamiliar to him. Last year, Arjun traveled with his family to the mighty Himalayas, the great frozen sentinels of the north. He had dreamed of seeing the vast, pristine glaciers his grandfather had described, rivers of ice that moved with imperceptible slowness. Instead, he saw mountainsides scarred with dark, exposed rock where ice once clung. The glaciers were retreating, weeping meltwater into newly formed lakes that threatened to burst their banks. He heard the elders in the villages speak in hushed tones of a future with less water for their crops, and for the great rivers that sustained the plains below. This was not just a story from a book. It was a visible wound upon the face of the earth. Then came the drought. The year after the floods, the skies remained stubbornly clear, a brassy, unforgiving blue. The sun beat down relentlessly, cracking the earth in his village into a mosaic of deep fissures. The wells ran dry, and the vibrant green of the rice paddies faded to a brittle, dusty brown. Farmers, their faces etched with worry, looked to the heavens for a sign of relief that never came. Arjun saw the desperation in their eyes, a mirror of the land's own thirst. It was a silent, creeping disaster, a stark contrast to the roaring floods, but just as destructive. The rhythm of life, once dictated by the steady pulse of nature, was now a chaotic and dangerous improvisation. These were not isolated events. They were pieces of a much larger, more troubling puzzle. Arjun began to connect the dots between the furious floods, the shrinking glaciers, and the searing droughts. It was as if the planet itself had a fever, and these were its symptoms. He realized that the world his grandmother knew, a world of balance and predictability, was slipping away. He felt a deep sense of unease, but also a burgeoning curiosity. He needed to understand what was happening to his home, to this beautiful and fragile planet. His journey of discovery, a quest for answers, was just beginning. Arjun sought out his science teacher, a wise woman who explained the phenomenon in simple, powerful terms. She described our planet's atmosphere as a protective blanket, a delicate shield that keeps the Earth warm enough for life to flourish. This blanket is made of gases, including something called greenhouse gases. For millennia, these gases have trapped just the right amount of the sun's heat, creating a perfect, stable climate. It is a delicate balance, she explained, one that has allowed humanity and countless other species to thrive. This natural greenhouse effect is not the enemy. It is, in fact, the very reason our world is a vibrant, living oasis in the vastness of space. The problem, his teacher continued, is that human activities are making this blanket thicker. Every time we burn fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas to power our cars, our factories, and our homes, we release vast quantities of extra greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. These gases pour into the atmosphere, thickening the blanket and trapping more and more of the sun's heat. It is like adding another layer to a bed on a warm night. At first it is cozy, but soon it becomes uncomfortably and then dangerously hot. This extra warming is what we call global warming, the root cause of the climate change Arjun was witnessing all around him. For a country as vast and diverse as India, this planetary fever brings immense peril. The melting Himalayan glaciers, which Arjun saw with his own eyes, are the source of water for great rivers like the Ganges and the Brahmaputra, lifeline for hundreds of millions of people. As they shrink, they threaten the water security of the entire region. The increasingly erratic monsoons bring devastating floods to some areas while leaving others in prolonged crop-withering drought. Rising sea levels, caused by the expansion of warmer oceans and melting ice, threaten coastal communities and cities like Mumbai and Kolkata. where millions live and work just meters from the encroaching sea. This is not a distant future threat. It is happening now, reshaping India's geography and challenging the lives of its people. The intricate web of life, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, is being disrupted. The changing climate affects everything: the food we grow, the water we drink, the very air we breathe. Arjun understood with a chilling clarity that climate change was not just an environmental issue. It was a human issue, a challenge to the health, prosperity, and survival of his community, his country, and the entire world. The invisible gases were creating a very visible crisis. In his search for solutions, Arjun learned about a powerful tool designed to protect the environment. It is called an Environmental Impact Assessment, or EIA. He imagined it as a kind of crystal ball, a way to look into the future before a big project like a new factory, dam, or highway is built. The EIA process carefully studies what harm the project might cause to the air, water, soil, and local communities. It asks critical questions. Will it pollute the river? Will it destroy a forest? Will it displace people or wildlife? It is a process of looking before you leap, a way to prevent damage before it happens rather than trying to clean up a mess afterwards. The purpose of the EIA is to ensure that development does not come at the cost of the environment. It brings everyone to the table: the government, the company building the project, and most importantly, the local people whose lives will be affected. Public hearings are a key part of the process, giving a voice to farmers, fishers, and villagers. They can share their knowledge of the local land and raise concerns about potential impacts. Ideally, this process leads to better projects, ones that are designed to minimize harm or are moved to a less sensitive location. In some cases, if the damage is too great, the EIA can lead to a project being stopped altogether, acting as a vital shield for nature. However, Arjun also discovered that this protective shield is not always as strong as it should be. The process faces many challenges. Sometimes the reports that are prepared are not thorough, or they downplay the potential negative impacts to get a project approved quickly. Public hearings can sometimes be a mere formality, with the concerns of local people ignored or brushed aside by powerful interests. There is immense pressure for rapid economic growth, and environmental safeguards are sometimes seen as obstacles or delays. This can lead to the approval of projects that cause irreversible damage to fragile ecosystems and communities. Despite these challenges, Arjun saw the immense importance of the EIA. He realized that strengthening this process, making it more transparent, independent, and accountable, was a critical part of fighting climate change. It is one of the front lines in the battle to protect our natural world. It ensures that the path to progress is paved with care and foresight, not with the destruction of the very ecosystems that sustain us. It is a blueprint for a kind of development that respects the boundaries of our planet, a way to build a better future without dismantling our home. Arjun's journey then led him to a place of great hope, the world of clean energy. He learned that the same sun that was causing the land to parch could also be a source of incredible power. He visited a vast solar park, where thousands of glassy panels stretched to the horizon, silently converting sunlight into electricity. There were no smokestacks, no pollution, just the quiet hum of technology working in harmony with nature. He discovered that India is blessed with abundant sunshine, making solar power a perfect solution to energize the nation's future cleanly and sustainably. It felt like watching a new dawn break. He also learned about the power of the wind. He saw giant, graceful wind turbines standing tall on hillsides, their blades turning slowly in the breeze, capturing kinetic energy and transforming it into power for homes and schools. He read about hydropower, where the force of flowing rivers is harnessed by dams to generate electricity, providing a steady and reliable source of energy. And he was fascinated by the concept of green hydrogen, a fuel made using renewable energy to split water, which burns cleanly, producing only water as a byproduct. These were not just ideas, they were real, powerful alternatives to the fossil fuels that were warming the planet. For India, embracing these renewable sources of energy is not just an option, it is a necessity. A growing nation with 1.5 billion people needs vast amounts of energy to power its development. Relying on coal and oil would only worsen the climate crisis, locking the country into a future of environmental disasters and health problems. By shifting to renewable energy, India can reduce its carbon footprint, clean its air, and achieve energy independence. It is a path that leads to both a healthier planet and a stronger, more resilient economy, creating new green jobs and fostering innovation. In the end, Arjun's journey brought him full circle. He learned about global agreements like the Paris Agreement, where nations promised to work together to limit global warming. He discovered India's own ambitious plans like the National Action Plan on Climate Change and the International Solar Alliance. But he realized that treaties and technologies alone are not enough. The greatest change required is a change in mindset. It is about all of us understanding that we are part of nature, not separate from it. It is about each person, each community, and each nation recognizing their role. Arjun felt a sense of purpose. The challenge was immense, but the path forward, powered by nature and human ingenuity, was filled with hope.